Welcome to another polytunnel video from me in an incredibly creaky chair. And you may notice, if you watch the Hawthorne video, there's a door on. There's a door, look, there's a door. We've got a door. It's a lot warmer in here now, actually. Well, it's still pretty cold for May. And I've got a moving in present as well. My fellow has got me this rain drum. I'll just see if I can lift it up and show you. Okay, so yeah, we've got a little... I don't want to put this too loud on. It's a rain drum, and it doesn't do amazingly in the rain unless it's like torrential rain, we found. But I do like sitting in here and playing it to the plants. So we will see if they grow really well, because they've been drummed to every day, basically. I suppose I've done a few videos now talking about how I believe the importance of connection to the earth and connection with the plants is so important in, particularly from my point of view, I'm talking about it from getting through like life transitions, moving through that process of a life transition, but also, you know, just in general nowadays to really be able to function in the world we're living in. And for me, the particular way that I do this is plant connection, and specifically working with herbs. So how do we start cultivating that relationship with plant? For me, I find it's like, especially when I've got like a really busy life, that you can tend sometimes to end up in that pattern of everything's going okay, you're clocking on, and then when something does go wrong, that's when you end up kind of, you know, going to those fixes, if you will, those relationships, sitting with the plants, then maybe doing the meditation, then doing the practices, then, because everything is already kind of gnarly and at crisis point at that point. And yeah, like any relationship, it's got to be something that's cultivated over time. And you know, we've all sort of had those friendships where somebody's kind of been in your life and they're there, you know, maybe whether on your side or their side, whether you go to them in crisis mode, you know, and maybe beyond having a certain role to fulfill, there's not much of an underlying friendship. The kind of friendships that don't really last and fizzle out, particularly like, you know, if one of you or both of you has kind of got what you need from that relationship, it's kind of a transactional relationship. And I think, and I've been guilty of that myself, is especially like approaching plants like that, coming at it from too much of a transactional angle, like I'm not feeling well, or I'm feeling diseased, or I'm having struggles, so I'm approaching the plants. What can you do for me? How can you make me better? How can you help fix me? I know that's a worldview like we've really been entrenched in, I think, and it's hard to, you know, come out of that quickly. It's a process and it takes a long time, and I still find myself tripping up, you know. I think on default, you know, something goes wrong, that's when you really like, oh, go to this person or go to this plant or go to this place, rather than kind of having that relationship and building it on the daily. And also nowadays we're really like sold this idea that everything has to be glamorous, particularly around wellness. I think I've said before, I qualified in like Reiki around 2009, Reiki level 1. And yeah, back then nobody knew about all this kind of spiritual wellness thing. It was there, but it wasn't as kind of in the mainstream, I think, as it is now. And now spiritual wellness is just kind of so popular. And I think it has become a bit commodified, you know, and we are kind of sold it as like, you know, we've got a problem, reach for it as a fix, you know, like maybe I'm going through a certain situation and reach for meditation, you know, as a fix. You know, do your daily meditation, or reach for journaling as a fix, reach for plant connection as a fix, or herbal medicine. And they do have their ways of helping heal us and help fix us in a certain sense, but I think we're relying on them too much as almost like we do with allopathic medicine, where it's like a pill to take, you know, here's the problem, here's the pill in the form of a solution, right, are we sorted, now we can move on. Whereas really this kind of connecting with the older ways, with the plants as spirits, more on a deeper level. I think that is an ongoing connection, and it's more unglamorous, really. You know, it's more, there's kind of an element of like daily devotion to it. Practicing how can I show up daily in some way with the plants, not just because I want to get something or I want to gain something or I need fixing, but just to like kind of be in that relationship. And it's difficult because life is busy and I have 3 young children. And some days, you know, I'll go on a walk and I'll go to a particular place, maybe leave an offering at some of the trees that I know. Or some days it's as simple as, you know, being in the garden, tending the plants. There are some herbs in this polytunnel actually. I've got some mint over there, and I've got marigolds. I haven't got calendulas yet. But just sometimes just being in the garden and tending certain plants, even a coffee time is a good one. So sit and have a coffee outside and just sit physically next to the plants. And there are definitely ways that you can deepen that relationship, you know, like kind of focus breathing with a plant, entering into that meditative state around a plant and working on opening your heart center and having that heart coherence so that your heart field can connect to that of the plant. There are certainly those ways and techniques that we can learn along the way to deepen the relationship. But I think the first thing is just the really unglamorous thing of this idea of daily devotion, of showing up. So I love it in here. You know, that could be your starting point. If you're lucky enough to have some kind of space where you can grow plants, particularly now if you have like a little covered space as well, like a mini greenhouse or something, or a balcony or a little patio or somewhere where you can just have a cup of coffee, a cup of herbal tea, and just sit with the plants and take it from there, really. All the tools and techniques we've got and we can use and learn, and they can deepen that relationship. But just starting off is just to literally show up. Let me know if you have any kind of go-to techniques that you use, or whether you're in a process of just showing up, and what plants do you like to sit with as well. For me, I like to sit with, you know, the kind of Mediterranean herbs as well, the really scented ones, and just take in the scent. But yeah, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll see you for the next video because the rain is getting heavier.